Good morning. It is Tuesday. Today is going to be leg day. It's going to be fueled by the fact that my favorite team's quarterback can't make a freaking reasonable decision, man. Jalen Hurts had me fuming last night. I am somebody that will admit that even though, he's a professional athlete, and I'm not somebody that's going to say that I could sit here and do it better than him, but man, when you just want your team to win, and you know that they can win, and little things like that happen, like what happened last night in the Monday night game, oh, God. If you don't know football, just know I'm very upset. Anyway, we were in a rush this morning, so this is right here. This is my little crack bag that people are going to call it. This has vitamin C in it. We have our creatine, we have our pre-workout, and we have our carb powder. What I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to just put my water in there, shake it up, kind of move it around a little bit, and then cut a hole in the corner, and then drink it out like that. Now, this might look like one of the grosser things you've ever seen, but it gets the job done. What I like about doing it like this, especially with the carb powder, the electrolytes and the G1M Sport and the carb powder, is I could see the clumps and I can like pinch them around and stuff and separate the clumps from each other. But I'm just gonna sit here and just do this. These aren't the most expensive bags, so they do clump or they do leak a little bit. So got a pair of scissors. We're just gonna cut a small hole like that. Literally, oh, you just saw the little bit fall off. And we're just gonna drink it. Overall, that's a lot of liquid. Whew. And typically I drink this on the way to the gym. I don't drink it right when I get to the gym, but today has been such a rush. Gotta do what we gotta do. All right. And there it is. All right. So I've made my sprint days on Saturdays, and I made them their own day, okay? And so with that, my sprint days are gonna be on Saturdays. So as my primer for squat day, because today's still gonna be squats, as my primer for it, as my kind of like, all right, let's get the body going, let's get the body warm, but also do something functional. We're gonna trade it out with some vertical jump. We're gonna do some standing verts, and we're just gonna kind of practice that skill. Even though I am taking on this per se hybrid life, I still wanna be athletic. And I know with like the hybrid lifestyle, a lot of times it's literally just running and lifting, but I still want to be able to jump high. I still wanna be able to sprint fast. I still wanna be able to do stuff like that. And I need to encompass it all. And so one way that I figured I'd add in the skill of jumping is to throw it in before my squat days. It's a great way to kind of fire up the nervous system. It's a great way to get me ready for squats. And overall, I think it's a great addition. I think it's a great trade-off. And so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do vertical jumps. We got barbell back squat. We got heavy step-ups. And then we got some post-chain work, and we're out. Right now, it's 6:24. I have until 7:30 to finish my workout, be done with it, and start actually working. So we're gonna just let the camera run today, and we're gonna get right into it. And let's roll. All right, so for these jumps, we're gonna go six total, 3 and 3. So 3 standing verticals and then 3 approach verts. We're just trying to prime the nervous system. If we hit a PR, let's get it. But if not, I'm not gonna sit here and spend so much time on it. So it's 3 standing verts that's just coming off of 2 feet, and then 3 approach verticals, however I wanna do it. And I set up with my finger touching the bottom of our little marker. That dictates that the bottom red ticker is 12 inches. All right. First one, 25 and a half. That's terrible. I think my all-time best standing vertical is probably 31. Standing, just standing. 31. So for it to be 25 and a half, that's horrible. But I also haven't jumped like this in a long time, so. Oh, all right. A lot better. 28. My 28-inch vertical was probably the best vertical I had when I was in high school, and that was when I was 180 pounds. At 250, 28 inches, not bad. And what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna throw some inches back up there. Not that I don't wanna go for it, but I wanna make sure that I know the number that I hit when I jump. Because if I miss 28 and a half or 29, I'm not gonna know what I hit. I called it. All right. 28 was my second attempt, and 27 and a half was my third attempt. I had recently been pulling, like before I started marathon training and stuff, I had recently been pulling like 30 plus inches on a standing vert, but we'll take what we can get, especially because we haven't practiced and trained this in so long. Now we're gonna go approach vert. I haven't approach verted in a long time either, so I don't know what to expect here. So let's see what we can get. I think I'm gonna start off with just a 2-step approach and then kind of go from there. Let's see. All right, y'all. I need to bring the camera closer because I feel like you guys can't even see that. That is 30 and a half inches, 30.5. 30.5. I'm not even gonna take away that ticker. I better hit over 30.5. I'm not even gonna touch it. That is, I think 32 total inches on the approach vert. 32. My best ever on approach vert was a 35. And that was when I was practicing jumping like every other day. So 32, I'll take it. Oh God. Last one was 31 and a half, 31.5. And this is my issue. I want to keep chasing, but we're gonna sit with 32 as our top number for approach. And what was it, 28 and a half for our standing. Washed up, but we keep practicing, we're gonna get better. I'm not going full on power lifter, but I did replace my Olympic weightlifting belt, I'll call it that, with my powerlifting belt. Just because this one's stiffer, I do want to start feeling a good brace again. That one provided a pretty good brace, the red one, but I want like that powerlifting brace, especially as we start to go a little bit heavier with these squats. Now, with the squats, I'm gonna work up to a heavy pause rep single for about a RPE 7.5, and then we're gonna back off to some 3x3s after that, and then we'll go into our step ups. Yeah. That was 435. I had 4 plates on plus a 15-pound bumper plate. That's 435. I was never somebody that like could mix up plates. I was always so OCD about it, but you know, I've kind of just learned to just lift the weight regardless of how it's presented. So 3 blues, 1 black, and a 15-pound bumper plate made 435 for a top single at 7.5. Now, we are at 350 for a 3x3 at 80% of that 7.5, and then we'll move on to the rest of the workout after this. One thing with my new approach to per se powerlifting and lifting in general is I'm a lot more in shape. Like I used to have to take like 5 minutes of rest in between my sets, which maybe that's gonna come when things get heavier, but right now I'm living off of like 2 minutes of rest, and I actually feel pretty good. I feel like determined to get it done within that set amount of time. Now, for the sake of saving time, I transitioned bars. I came from that rack over there to this rack over here. We're gonna do a low box step up. 3 sets of 6 reps each leg. We're gonna go for 225 for the first set, about 275 for the second set, and probably like 315, 340 for the third set. So let's get after it. We'll do our heavy hamstring work on deadlift days, but for today, we're just gonna crank out some volume. 2 sets of 20 on a prone hamstring curl. Today is December 16th. When I recorded this video, it was December 9th, and this is exactly a week after. Basically what happened was, with my ear infection, I was put on antibiotics for a week, and those were antibiotics that went in the ear, nothing else. And then a week later, they said, go seek out a doctor if anything is basically not coming back to light and, you know, anything doesn't get better. So about a week later, my ear didn't have full hearing. I couldn't hear out of my left side. And so I went back to my PCP, and she said to basically hop on more antibiotics for another week. I got put on 2 orals, one for 5 days and one for 7 days, and then I got put on some extra eardrops. So luckily I have some hearing back in my left side, probably about 85 to 90% of hearing. I have a follow-up appointment tomorrow, and yeah. So with all this going on, I was put on an antibiotic that is called levofloxacin, I think. And basically what it makes me susceptible to is tendon rupture. What sucks about that is the overthinking in myself looks at the whole thing and is like, oh God, I don't want to tear anything. I don't want to rupture anything. I don't want to do anything too crazy. And so I went pretty easy for the last week. And now I'm doing more research, and things are saying like, hey, you should probably kind of be weary for the next anywhere from like 2 to 4 weeks. Don't do anything too crazy. Don't do anything too extreme, yada, yada, yada. But of course, the population and the case sizes for these are with like older patients, people that don't necessarily lift all the time. So there's really no understanding of like kind of where we can go with this, but there's also not being too careful. So for these next few weeks, we're gonna have to dumb down the program a little bit. We're not gonna be able to do too much jumping and sprinting and all that stuff. Where, you know, I was even told like when it comes to running, maybe don't run for long periods of time, do more of like a run walk type of thing, and just kind of be, you know, careful over the next 2 weeks. So that's that. Even with the bench press journey to try to bench press 400, I might have to just do a whole lot of volume, a whole lot of hypertrophy work, maybe go bodybuilder for the next 2 weeks. I don't know. I still haven't figured that out yet. Again, I have a follow-up with my doctor tomorrow. I am supplementing in some collagen, extra collagen. I typically take about 6 pills of a collagen in the morning. That's a normal amount, but I've upped it to like 9. And yeah, just kind of trying to see how I can combat the whole thing and still train the way that I want to train, et cetera, et cetera. So we will see, but the content might change just for a little bit, but we'll be back to normal in no time, probably right at the start of 2026. We'll go right back onto the powerlifting performance training train. So we'll see what happens. But with that, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. And I will catch you guys on the next one.